The autumn rain drummed against the windows of the conservatory as Isabelle packed her violin case with the same methodical precision she had used for the past 7 years. Yet something felt different, as if the familiar weight of her instrument carried promises she couldn't quite name. She had been accepted to the Paris Conservatory at 18 with dreams of performing in the world's greatest concert halls. But at 26, those dreams felt more like echoes of someone else's life, distant and haunting in ways that made her chest tighten with inexplicable longing. Walking through the narrow streets of Montmartre toward the metro station, Isabelle found herself humming a melody that seemed to come from nowhere, a haunting piece in minor key that felt ancient and familiar, though she was certain she had never heard it before, the notes flowing from her lips as naturally as breathing. The other conservatory students had long since stopped inviting her to their gatherings, sensing the peculiar melancholy that seemed to follow her like a shadow. But Isabelle had never minded this solitude because it felt like she was waiting for something or someone, though she could never explain what. As she descended the steps into Châtelet-Léal station, her fingers absently traced the violin case's worn leather handle, and she paused mid-step when she heard it. Piano music drifting through the underground tunnels. The same melody she had been humming, played with a technique so achingly familiar that her heart began to race with recognition she couldn't possibly understand. The music pulled at something deep within her chest, a feeling that transcended mere appreciation for skilled performance. And as she moved toward the sound, following the haunting notes like a compass needle finding true north, Isabelle knew with inexplicable certainty that her life was about to change forever. As the piano melody wove through the bustling station, Isabelle's steps faltered, her breath catching, as she spotted the source. A young man, seated at a weathered upright piano, tucked into a quiet corner of the metro platform, his fingers dancing over the keys with a grace that mirrored her own, and the intensity in his dark eyes held a depth that seemed to reach into her soul. For a moment, the noise of commuters and announcements faded into a distant hum, and all that remained was the music and the magnetic pull between them, as if the universe had paused to witness something extraordinary unfolding in the depths of Paris. Isabelle felt an instant spark, a recognition so profound it blurred the lines between past and present, as if their souls had brushed against each other in another lifetime, and she found herself moving closer, drawn by an invisible thread that seemed to connect her heartbeat to the rhythm of his playing. Their eyes met across the small crowd that had gathered, and in that gaze, she saw a flicker of something familiar, an echo of memory she couldn't place, but felt deeply in her bones, like a song she had known before she was born. "I've never heard that melody played like this," she whispered, her voice trembling with awe as she approached the piano, her violin case clutched tightly in her hands. He smiled softly, a hint of sadness flickering in his expression as his fingers continued their dance across the keys. "It's a piece I learned long ago from someone who believed music could connect hearts beyond time," he said, his voice carrying a French accent that made her heart skip, though something in his tone suggested layers of meaning she couldn't yet understand. Isabelle's heart raced, the air thick with unspoken understanding, as she felt the strange sensation that this conversation had happened before, in another place, another time, and she wanted to ask more, to unravel the mystery of this connection. But the moment was fragile, suspended between reality and something otherworldly. Suddenly, the train's arrival shattered the spell with its mechanical screech, and the pianist packed up quickly, leaving Isabelle standing alone on the platform, the haunting melody lingering in her mind like a prayer she couldn't forget. The days following their encounter at the metro station were filled with a restless energy that Isabelle couldn't shake, as if the universe had set a new rhythm for her heart to follow, and she found herself replaying the moment over and over. The way his fingers had moved across the piano keys, the depth in his eyes, and the strange familiarity that lingered like a secret melody only she could hear. When they met again at a small cafe near the Seine, the air between them was charged with a delicate vulnerability, a shared understanding that words could barely capture. And Isabelle noticed the way he hesitated before speaking, as if weighing the weight of unspoken truths, and in that pause, she felt the fragile threads of a connection weaving tighter. Can you feel that instant spark between Isabelle and Etienne? You have no idea what incredible discovery awaits them. Subscribe to Sparks Fly Stories to never miss another heart-melting tale. Now, shall we continue our story? I feel like I've known you before, she confessed softly, her voice barely above the hum of the city around them, like our souls have danced this dance in another time. He nodded, a shadow of a smile touching his lips as he introduced himself as Etienne. And when he said, "Perhaps we have, and perhaps this is our chance to finish what was left undone," Isabelle felt a chill of recognition that had nothing to do with the autumn breeze. As they talked, she discovered surprising parallels in their lives, shared dreams of performing at the Opéra de Paris, fears of never being good enough, and a mutual love for music that transcended mere notes and rhythms, as if their souls were composing a duet, each revealing parts of themselves that had long been hidden, and in that revelation they found a rare completeness that felt both new and ancient. Yet beneath the blossoming connection, a subtle unease began to stir when Etienne mentioned casually that he had been having recurring dreams about a violinist he had never met. Dreams that began exactly 7 years ago, the same time Isabelle had started experiencing her own mysterious musical visions. And as this impossible coincidence settled between them like a third presence, she caught herself wondering if this second chance was truly meant to be, or if fate was merely teasing her with a fleeting glimpse of what could never last. The crisp air of early autumn seemed to carry a weight heavier than the falling leaves as Isabelle faced the growing obstacles that threatened to unravel the fragile connection she had found with Etienne. Doubts creeping into her mind like shadows at dusk, whispering fears that the past might not be as distant as she hoped, and that the cosmic second chance she longed for could slip through her fingers like sand. Etienne's sudden absences and cryptic silences stirred a tempest within her. Each unanswered message, a reminder of the barriers they could not yet overcome. The world outside their shared moments seeming indifferent, pressing demands of family expectations and personal ambitions that pulled them in opposite directions. And Isabelle felt torn between the love blossoming in her heart and the life she had painstakingly built alone. One evening, as the Seine reflected the fading light, Etienne confessed a secret that deepened the mystery. A family legacy intertwined with theirs, a history of love lost and found across generations, and a warning that their reunion might awaken forces neither was prepared to face. The revelation planting a seed of fear and hope, forcing Isabelle to confront the impossible choice between surrendering to destiny or guarding her heart against a fate that could shatter everything. Caught in the whirlwind of emotions, Isabelle wrestled with the weight of her decision, the delicate balance between love and self-preservation tipping precariously as the night deepened and the city lights flickered like distant stars, mirroring the uncertainty that clouded her soul. The weight of absence pressed heavily on Isabelle's chest as the days stretched into weeks without a word from Etienne. Each silence a sharp reminder of the fragile thread that once bound their souls, now fraying dangerously close to breaking. And in the quiet moments alone in her small apartment overlooking the Seine, she felt the ache of a love that defied reason, yet was threatened by forces beyond her control. Forces that seemed to whisper that some connections were too impossible to survive in the harsh light of reality. Your heart is probably breaking for Isabelle right now, but you won't believe what the universe has in store for her. Hit that like button if you're hoping love finds a way. Now, shall we continue our story? Memories of their shared dreams and whispered promises haunted her like ghostly melodies, the music that once united them now a bittersweet echo in the empty spaces of her heart. And as she wandered the streets of Paris beneath the pale glow of street lamps, Isabelle grappled with the unbearable truth that sometimes love, no matter how profound, is not enough to conquer the shadows that life casts. Yet the 7 years of mysterious musical visions that had prepared her for this moment seemed to mock her with their cruel precision. Her heart shattered anew with each passing day, the pain raw and unyielding, yet within that despair flickered a stubborn ember of hope, a belief that the cosmic second chance they had been granted was not a cruel joke, but a sacred gift. And as she clung to that fragile light, Isabelle resolved to fight for the love that had already changed her in ways she could never undo, remembering the impossible synchronicity of their recurring dreams and the ancient melody that had called to both their souls across time. The family legacy Etienne had mentioned weighed heavily on her mind, the warning about forces they weren't prepared to face taking on new meaning as she realized that perhaps their separation was not coincidence, but part of a pattern that had repeated across generations. And in her darkest moments, she wondered if they were doomed to repeat the same tragic cycle of love found and lost, or if this lifetime would finally break the chain of heartbreak that seemed to follow their connection through the ages. But fate, ever capricious, had one final test in store, a revelation that would challenge everything she thought she knew about their connection. A secret buried deep within Etienne's past that threatened to unravel the delicate tapestry of trust they had woven, forcing Isabelle to confront the ultimate question: could love truly transcend the darkest of secrets? Or was their second chance doomed to fade into the shadows like the countless loves that had come before them? In the stillness of a Parisian night, with the city asleep around her and the haunting melody playing softly in her mind, Isabelle stood at the crossroads of hope and heartbreak, the weight of choice pressing down like the autumn chill. And as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, she knew that whatever path she chose, her life would never be the same again. The letter Etienne pressed into her trembling hands contained more than words. It held the key to a mystery that had haunted both their souls for 7 years. And as Isabelle read the faded ink with growing amazement, she discovered that her grandmother had once known a young pianist named Henri Beaumont, Etienne's grandfather, in this very same neighborhood during the winter of 1952. Their love story cut short by a tragic accident that left them both heartbroken and searching for something they could never name. The revelation struck her like lightning as she realized that the melody they both knew, the dreams they had shared, and the impossible recognition between them weren't coincidences at all, but echoes of a love that had transcended death itself, calling their souls back together across generations to finish what their grandparents had started. Through tears of wonder and disbelief, Isabelle understood that every moment of inexplicable familiarity, every synchronized dream, and every note of that ancient melody had been breadcrumbs left by the universe, guiding two hearts destined to complete a love story that began 70 years ago. And as she looked into Etienne's eyes, she saw not just the man she had fallen for, but the reflection of a cosmic pattern that proved some connections run deeper than a single lifetime. The weight of this truth filled her with both humility and fierce determination, because she now knew that what they shared wasn't just romantic love, but a sacred responsibility to honor the bond that had waited decades to be fulfilled. Standing in the place where her grandmother had once said goodbye to Henry, Isabelle felt the presence of something greater than themselves blessing their union. And when Etienne whispered that he had been searching for her his entire life without knowing why, she finally understood that their meeting in the metro station had been an appointment with destiny, one that no force on earth could prevent. Because some loves are written in the stars long before hearts start beating. With the letter pressed against her chest like a talisman, Isabelle knew that their fight for love had just become something infinitely more powerful. A mission to prove that true love never truly dies, it simply waits for the right moment to bloom again. In the quiet aftermath of their revelation, Isabelle found herself walking along the Seine once more. The city around her alive with the soft glow of twilight and the distant hum of life continuing as if nothing extraordinary had happened. Yet inside her, a profound transformation had taken root, a new understanding of love that transcended time, space, and even the boundaries of life and death. The letter from Etienne had not only unveiled a hidden past, but had opened a door to a future filled with hope and endless possibilities. And as she paused on the bridge, watching the water ripple beneath the fading light, Isabelle reflected on the mysterious ways hearts recognize each other, the inexplicable pull that had brought them together against all odds. She realized that their story was not just about two people, but about the eternal dance of souls destined to find one another again and again across lifetimes, and with a gentle smile, she clutched her violin case a little tighter, feeling the weight of the music that had always been her companion and now symbolized the unbreakable bond she shared with Etienne. The city's lights flickered on, casting shimmering reflections on the river, and Isabelle knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, their connection was a spark that would never fade, because some loves are written in the stars long before hearts start beating, and theirs was proof that the universe has perfect timing for second chances. As the stars began to emerge in the Parisian sky, she whispered a quiet promise to the universe, a vow to cherish this cosmic second chance, to honor the love that had waited so long to bloom, and to embrace the mystery of a destiny written in the stars, knowing that somewhere in the music of the night, her grandmother's spirit was smiling, finally at peace, knowing that the love story she couldn't finish had found its perfect ending through the hearts of those who came after, proving that true love never truly dies. It simply waits for the right moment to bloom again. Did you feel those chills when you discovered the truth about Isabelle and Etienne's grandparents? Some love stories truly are written in the stars. If this cosmic second chance made your heart flutter, smash that like button and subscribe to Sparks Fly Stories for more tales that prove destiny is real. Because sometimes love really does transcend time itself.